I'm Laura Ashwell. I work in the corporate tax department in Reading. In the corporate tax team, we obviously do company sort of like tax returns, so we do the compliance work. That's what I do most of the time, and it essentially involves going through the financial statements for the accounting period and working out what their tax liability should be for the year, so how much tax they should pay. We'll sort of get the financial statements from the auditors, and then we sort of prepare a computation which essentially involves going through the P&L and working out what items should be taxed and which ones they don't have to be taxed on. But also you might phone the client. There's a lot of interaction with the client and other departments because there's often questions that you have outstanding that you need to know. So it's quite good because I often get the opportunity to speak to clients. Obviously I do a lot of tax compliance work and that is the basis of what I do. But I also will be asked to assist with tax advisory work or go to like audit planning meetings and things. It's so varied. That's the one thing that really enjoy. There is a lot of things that you need to do and keep up to date on, but BDO is really good at that. Insight has always got people putting information on there, and you can just read stuff and get an overview rather than having to sort of go in depth with all sort of the difficult stuff that you wouldn't necessarily understand. So there's loads of support for any sort of technical knowledge that you need. From my experience, the difference between audit and tax is that auditors certainly spend a lot more time out of the office. So they'll be travelling a lot and sort of going to clients on sort of more daily basis. We sort of build on client relationships for long periods of time. And over the year, we do various different things for our clients because they might have like quarterly payments to make, etc., that type of thing. So it's not just one time of year where we go and do sort of a job for a few weeks. And the BDO graduate scheme for tax intake is you have a choice of doing either the ACA or the CTA, and one of them is sort of more accountancy sort of route and the other one is specifically tax. So it is quite a decision that needs to be sort of weighed up. BDO is one of the few firms that has an internal training department for tax, so for the CTA exams, and they have a very good pass rate and it's highly recommended by all the students that have done it before. The reason is because it's very in-depth. You do a lot of courses that really build on your sort of technical ability, and you do lots of things, like for example, you practice tax advisory work, so you'll be asked to submit, you'll get a question from a client and it's all set out as if it would be real life and you have to respond to that. So you do get a real opportunity to have a go before you get to it in real life. I think the type of people that would do well in tax would be people that can pay attention to detail, as well as really enjoying getting involved in the sort of technical knowledge, because you do need it on a daily basis. Like every year, the tax legislation will change, and that may not mean, obviously you don't need to read everything that they change, but there will be key things that you need to know, and it's so important on a day-to-day basis because these things really do come up, as well as organisational skills. It might seem really simple, but for time management and things like that, it's invaluable. People that say tax is boring don't really know what it is. I think they think that I don't even know, I think they think that we are the bad guys and we make people pay tax, whereas in fact we're minimising people's liability and we're trying to get them to pay less tax. But there's so much detail. I don't know if there's many jobs that require consistent sort of research and looking up new legislation. It's so technical and it's so broad. I work in the corporate tax team, but at the same time, during my training, I learn about personal tax, VAT, inheritance tax, and you can have sort of a general conversation with somebody about their sort of personal tax situation, and people will actually find it interesting. It's just they don't really know what we do.